the Workforce Connections podcast, where we discuss workforce development in Southern Nevada. Here's your host.
Hi, and welcome to another episode of the WC Podcast. Today, we have a very special guest, my friend. He's also my fellow Vegas Chamber trustee, member of the Executive Committee of the Vegas Chamber Board of Trustees. Please help me welcome Terry Shirey, Chief President and Chief Executive Officer at Nevada State Bank.
Thank you, Jaime. Very happy to be here.
Yeah, we're glad to have you. I know we have been talking about it for a while, but you're a busy guy. And now I'm learning off camera a lot of travel recently. So for those, I can't imagine there's many, Terry, especially when our folks at the Vegas Chamber, the LVGA. But for the audience that maybe doesn't know a lot about you, let's get us started by telling them where were you born? Where did you grow up? Went to school? Where did you go to college? Take us all the way to your first job out of college.
Okay. Well, I was born on F.E. Warren Air Force Base in Cheyenne, Wyoming. My family was originally from the state of Washington, but my dad was in the Air Force. He was actually a missile officer during the Vietnam War. So I was born there, spent a little bit of time as a young child in the state of Wyoming and moved back to Washington State. And then came back to Wyoming when I was in high school, where I graduated from high school, met my wife in high school, then went on to the University of Wyoming and started my career as a CPA in Wyoming, lived in a couple smaller towns there. And in the year 2000, realized if I really wanted to grow my career, I made I look back on as one of the best decisions I've ever made, and I came to Las Vegas. Continuing as a CPA here, working mostly with bank clients. And after a couple of years of doing that, this was an era where Las Vegas and the state of Nevada had a lot of community banks that were started. I'm sure you can remember that. So it was a very vibrant market for banking at that time. So I made the leap to one of those community banks, had some great experience there. And then in 2008, I joined Nevada State Bank as the CFO.
Wow.
So from there, I was able to, had a great mentor, which I always encourage people to seek out a mentor that helped me to see that maybe my career path didn't necessarily need to stay on that finance track and move more into the customer and leadership side of the business. And so I was able to succeed that individual who was the former CEO when he retired in 2017.
Wow. So 20 years in the finance industry, 14 of them in banking. What would you consider some key milestones in that progression? Because you just summarized a full career. Can you share a few key milestones in there that you feel shaped your trajectory? Yeah,
moving to Las Vegas, as I had mentioned, was a really major milestone for me. It was hard to do. It's always hard to leave your comfort zone. I was in a pretty good situation at my former employer in Wyoming and took that leap to do something that was kind of scary to me. I had to sell my first home that my wife and I had bought, and we had a young child, and she was pregnant with our second, and kind of came into a world of uncertainty, into a city that I didn't know, and a lot of people I didn't know. But it was a pretty impactful decision as I look back. I really do think it was one of the best decisions I've ever made. Another one was, I think, transitioning from my first bank employer to Nevada State Bank and Zions Bank Corporation, our parent company. Just a wonderful culture that allows for career growth. So that was a really big move for me as well, and one that I am very happy I made.
Yeah. Terry, again, as a president and CEO, that's the highest role there. But I see you all the time. You always have energy, passion for the work, passion for our community. What motivates you in this role that you have now? What keeps you going? What do you enjoy most about your role?
The longer I do this, I find the more that I enjoy working with our people and our team and assembling a team, leading that team. I believe my number one job is to find talented people and to put them in the right role. I'm not always perfect at that, but I'm I'm very, it's some of the most satisfaction I get is when I see people growing and taking on leadership roles themselves.
So, Terry, one of the things that you mentioned earlier is this town has really evolved. We were talking about how the DC fly-in. I hear stories from Tom Burns and Hugh Anderson. There was like 8 or 12 of you that used to go and, go to the congressional offices. You can't bring 300 people into the congressional offices, so they come to, to us now. And same with this town. I remember, Terry, that the time I was much younger, I would drive my car through these drive-throughs, and they had those two vacuum things, Now everything is app. So tell us how you've been on the inside of that. How have you seen the banking industry evolve in your time in these last 2 decades? There's been a lot that's happened from the days, I said, of a thriving smaller banks kind of thing. Is it now more corporate banks? Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, I think I think you've nailed it. It's, the use of technology and the consolidation of the industry. There are many fewer smaller community banks, which I think is a shame. I think they're very important to a town's economy, to have embedded community bankers that live and work there, where there's leadership there, there's decisions being made at those banks by people who really understand what's happening. I mean, Las Vegas is a different city than most. We know that, those of us who have lived here. We also know it as a very special city, and one where it attracts entrepreneurs, it attracts risk takers, and I think we see the results of that as this city has evolved so much. So I'm hoping over time we see a return to a better environment for smaller banks to flourish. But technology, no doubt, has played a major role in the changing of the industry, in the changing in the way that consumers and businesses want to engage with their bank. So banks have to react to that. We have to, the way we look at it, we want to provide you with all the technology of a large bank, but we want to continue to maintain that personal relationship with people who really understand our city, our communities, our state, and can help contribute to the economic growth here.
I sense that, just yesterday, my mom, whenever she has a technology problem, she calls me, and it's kind of says something when you're the best technology person in the family, not good. But, whether it be these apps, it was this about tickets, the AXS app allows you to do your tickets.
Used it many times.
Yeah, but my mom, she needs to print out the thing, and so she's, I think, these technologies, these platforms are really challenging to the generation that wasn't familiar with them. Do you find that in your customers as well?
We definitely do. We have, and it's kind of the bifurcation we see in our client base, where there are a lot of clients, particularly those who are a little older, will still come into the branch very often. And we can show them the technology they could use to do that transaction in a much simpler way. But they like to interact with people. They may be a little bit intimidated by some of the technology, but they also like to talk to somebody. They like to build that relationship with the teller or the branch manager. And we're happy to serve those people. They're some of our best customers.
Yeah.
But yeah, technology, and then you go to the younger generation, and in many cases, they want everything frictionless. They do not, they view it, many of them view, if I do have to engage with somebody, then this is not a good customer experience. I should be able to do this without talking to someone. Wow. So, trying to find that balance in our offerings is something we're always watching.
Yeah. Wow. That's very interesting. Now, this is a labor market. You and I have talked about it, Terry. We're in the business, of course, here at Workforce Connections to try to meet the two sides of the labor equation, the supply, the demand. There's open positions all over our valley. Sometimes it fluctuates between 80 to 100,000 positions throughout hospitality, healthcare, banking. How is Nevada State Bank, how are you as the chief officer that's in charge, again, of filing talent, navigating this different labor market where it's there's more open jobs than people that are ready to fill them?
Mm-hmm. Well, first, thanks to you and Workforce Connections for all you do in this space, because it is really important for our community, and we're very lucky to have you here doing what you do.
Thank you, Terry.
We have seen that moderate a little bit over the last, really since probably about 18 months ago. We've seen the situation getting a little bit better, but it's always a challenge, and I think it's going to continue to be. I don't think we're ever going to get back to where we were 10 years ago. It's as you know well, and as you talk about, it's the skill gap that exists where, we don't necessarily have the workforce for the jobs that we have available. So we have started to work with UNLV, along with the rest of the banks here in town through the Nevada Bankers Association on a commercial banking certificate that goes along with a business degree. Shannon Peterson, who I think you had here recently, is very involved in that. Okay. Then we recruit finance and accounting majors right out of UNLV and put them into a training program to really build our own talent. So that's how we're addressing that.
That's really good.
Yeah.
And has the industry, Terry, because you can think about others where manufacturing, for example, 10, 20 years ago, it was a lot about wrenching yourself, having really skill sets that are different than today. The high-end manufacturing is a lot of programming. And so in the banking industries, are you also needing to find workers with skill sets that they didn't have before because of this advent of technology and how the banking industry has evolved? Is that the case as well, or are you still hiring for the same profile that you did before?
It's more of the same profile, where the difference is the generation that is coming into the workforce today is more used to working with the technology. In fact, a lot of the feedback we get and a lot of the improvements to our own internal systems come from our people that are on the front line, because they understand what a good digital experience is, and they want to experience that themselves at work. They don't want to have to go back to the old ways. In fact, it's foreign to them. So we get a lot of really good feedback that helps us improve our own processes from our team.
Okay. A few weeks ago, I saw you in the chamber, and I had just read the Nevada Business Magazine, and in one of the pages, I saw Nevada State Bank next to the picture of the second fastest woman in the world in the 400 individual medley.
Yes.
Our very own Katie Grimes, Olympic medalist. Has it been fun to sponsor her, and did you enjoy meeting her?
Oh my gosh. Our whole bank has fallen in love with Katie. She is just an incredible young lady, young woman, who has accomplished so much at such a young age. It all came about because her parents have been longtime customers of the bank. Wow. And I get approached, very often and our marketing team as well, by agents looking to look for partnership agreements with athletes, and rarely take anyone up on those. Katie, though, was a totally different story. Just the fact that she really defines, I think, Nevada, and somebody to celebrate here in our state. And our natural connection to her obviously helped. And then meeting her and her family, just great people.
Great people.
She's done a lot to inspire our team. We had her come to our annual officers meeting, where we have about 250 Nevada State Bank colleagues in the room, and told stories of her journey, gave us some really great tips that we can all use in business. Just the way she approaches her competitions, the way she approaches setbacks. Her mantra is happy, humble, and hungry, which to me just is, it's exactly what I want our company to be. So no, it's been a wonderful relationship with Katie.
Yeah. And I think I share with you, my daughter helps her with her, conditioning. She's her physical therapist. And same thing, she says, Dad, she's just a wonderful person, a wonderful young woman and family. And so, yeah, it's been great. And now we've only seen what she can do 18. I mean, she's the future of USA women's swimming. We got 10 years still to enjoy, and hopefully many more medals, right?
Yes, we do. We actually just, during that silver medal race that she competed in, we we were broadcasting that throughout the bank,
Wow.
and everybody was watching. It was really neat. And yes, I am confident we're going to see a lot more of Katie Grimes.
That is cool. So your leadership, Terry, in the time that I've known you, again, I've seen you at the Vegas Chamber, and as your fellow trustee, I know that can take a lot of hours for not just the meetings, but the events. We just talked about travel with them as well. But you're also, you have a philanthropic role as the chairman of the Nevada Hand Board of Directors. Tell us a little bit more about why you're involved with them, and you must enjoy it.
I enjoy it very much. It is an incredible organization, and I hope more and more of our community learns about what Nevada Hand does. They provide affordable housing, which is a critical need in our community, as we all know. We have a housing shortage right now in Las Vegas. And then if you think about those who are working yet are still struggling to afford market rents, Nevada Hand fills that critical hole. We need a lot more product, and they're working very hard to just create more properties. The other thing about them that I think is great is you drive by a Nevada Hand property, you would not distinguish it from a market rate property. They're beautiful. I was just at a senior housing grand opening up in North Las Vegas a couple months ago, and I would be more than happy to have my parents live there. It is an absolutely beautiful facility. They also provide resident services, which is pretty unique. There are other affordable housing providers throughout the country. Not enough in our state, but throughout the country, there's others. And Nevada Hand has these wraparound services that they provide as well. So tutoring, food pantries, other things that to just ensure people can live a comfortable life. Yeah,
very cool. I can see now why you're passionate about it. One of the reasons we go to DC with the Flying with the Vegas Chamber is to advocate for those issues that are important for us here as a state. One of them is, again, the release of land, right? So that we can have some more land to build affordable housing, of course, water, workforce, all these things. You remain just as involved as before in the chamber. You've been the chair already. Now you continue to be on the executive committee. What does that path look like? I mean, I know there's an emeritus group that, like John Gedry and those folks. Well, is that where you're headed, or are you going to stay with us on the board?
I have a feeling they're going to be pushing me into the emeritus group here soon. Okay. And actually that's okay, because I think we need continued new blood. I think any organization needs kind of new energy coming in. And we have so much talent in this community, and serving in these leadership capacities, whether it's with the Chamber, Nevada Hand, or any of the other number of great organizations, I think are great. I just encourage people to explore that and do it, because it really, not only do you make great connections, like that's how you and I connected. But you learn leadership skills, and you see how different organizations work. So I highly encourage those of you who are on a leadership path to really consider joining a board, and not just being on the board, but exploring leadership. Yeah.
Oh, I couldn't agree more. I think now, especially, I had partnered with the Vegas Chamber, of course, because as my peer with Mary Beth, we worked together on the real issues on the ground floor. But now that she's on our board here at Workforce Connections, and I've joined the board of trustees, I really got another glance. And you're absolutely right. I think that the opportunities that the chamber gives are not just about the great advocacy and connection to information and resources that they give the members, but as you said, these leadership roles that give you a whole another level of networking and connectivity here in our community. So that's great advice. Terry, but that's enough about work. Let's talk about personal a little bit.
Okay.
Because I think, again, you were just sharing with me off camera, you do enjoy your family time. But tell us about your life outside of work. Our research team told us, hey, Jaime, ask them about the rodeo. But also that you like camping, grilling with the family. Is all that true? Is our research team on it?
It is true. Although it has changed a little bit as my kids have gotten older. I mean, I'm from Wyoming, so I'm kind of obligated to like the rodeo. I think it's the official sport of the state of Wyoming. So definitely, I love when the NFR is in town. It feels it's very nostalgic for me, and so I very much enjoy that.
If I was to run into you at the rodeo, would you be in a suit or would you be?
No.
Oh, okay.
But I would not be dressed as a cowboy
Okay.
because I'm not really a cowboy. I've ridden horses and done all that, but the real cowboys would spot me right away if I tried too hard. So I will wear cowboy boots, but I don't put the hat on or the big belt buckle.
So besides the rodeo, which you obviously love attending, what else you do with the family?
So yeah, I meant, when my kids were younger, we did a lot of camping. It was just a great way to kind of get away, and I like the outdoors, which I think Las Vegas has some great outdoor areas within a proximity here. So we would definitely enjoy that. As they've gotten older, my wife and I now are almost empty nesters. That's a long story, but we're close. We are able to do a little more travel, which is something we hadn't done much in our life.
But it's no longer camping; it's more like glamping.
Oh, it's definitely more glamorous. Yeah. We were able to go to Europe 2 years ago for our first time, and that kind of gave us a bit of the travel bug. My son is in Japan, and he's in the U.S. Air Force over there, and we're going to go see him this spring. So really looking forward to that.
That is cool.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is very good. So he followed in his grandpa's steps, if you will.
He did. Yep. His grandpa and actually his uncle, my wife's brother, retired as the chief master sergeant, and he inspired my son as well. And he's seeing the world.
That is very cool.
Yeah.
What year is he in his engagement with the Air Force?
He is in his 5th year.
Wow.
Yep. So he extended a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And has he already? I know they pick. I don't know if we call it a vocation, a profession, or what has he picked as his line of work, education, specialization?
Yeah, he's in IT.
Wow.
So sometimes I will call him for tech advice.
Yeah. And
he usually laughs at me.
Right. They always do. Yeah. And they fixed the thing. My kids too, with the phone thing, they give you that face.
Exactly.
Yeah. That's so cool. And now more than ever, I think IT, cybersecurity, those things are so important, not just in business, but obviously our national defense and all those things. So good for him. I'm sure he's going to get plenty of choices when, whether to stay there or even in the private sector. Mm-hmm. Good for him. So, Terry, a lot of times I think about what would I tell the 18-year-old version of myself, because I think, man, could I give that guy some advice? I also think, would that guy even listen, But if there was somebody that was that age now and looked at you and said, well, and maybe they come from a small rural town like you and said, I would love to live a life like that where I can, pick a career that I love, enter an industry, find a mentor, and eventually be a community leader, be the chair of the largest chamber of the state, be asked to be the chair of the Nevada Hand Board. What advice would you give that young person? What are some key things that you got to check this box to make sure you're on that road?
That is an excellent question. I would tell that person to, and in fact, I do tell people this, understand where you want to get, and then also understand that could evolve over time. But initially, find something where you can identify a need for that skill set, and then really engage with it and understand you're probably going to work harder than you'd like early in your career. You're probably going to work harder in college too, if a lot of these, or whatever vocation that you choose to go into, things that are worth it are generally harder. So engage in the hard work early on, and you may not get paid what you want early on either, but have that longer term goal in mind that you're working towards, and keep building your skills. The other thing I always tell people is to, and this isn't my line, I've heard it before, but it's be comfortable being uncomfortable. Mm-hmm. And put yourself in situations that stretch you, whether, if you are uncomfortable with public speaking, put yourself in situations where you need to speak publicly, because you will, over time, not only will you become comfortable with that skill, but you're going to get used to the idea that this discomfort I'm feeling doesn't mean I shouldn't do it. it means I'm growing right now.
Yeah, that's great advice. So Terry, this part of the podcast, as we reach the end, is your time to plug anything else you want. We appreciate your time. We know you're a busy guy. Is there anything about Nevada State Bank? If somebody wanted to get involved, learn more about the bank, we'd love to put the website, talk about a program or an event that you have going on.
Yeah,
in the bank.
Well, we are always looking for good people. So nsbank.com. And you can find on there our employment opportunities. So I encourage anyone who is thinking about, and to talk about just a little bit about what those opportunities could be.
Yeah.
That initial job into the bank, maybe as a teller, maybe somebody in the branch environment, but we really, and I can count many very highly placed people in our company today who started right there.
Wow.
So there are lots of opportunities for growth, and you're also can have a great career right there as well. So definitely check it out. I'll plug Nevada Hand just briefly. Yeah. On October 3rd, actually, we are having our second annual neighborhood block party at Symphony Plaza by the Smith Center, and it's a great opportunity to kind of get a sense of everything that Nevada Hand does for the community. It's very informal. It's outdoors. Starts at 5 p.m. and just show up and kind of see what Nevada Hand has to offer. There's also a fundraising component. I talked about the resident services that we want to provide the residents. So there's some fundraising you can participate in, but at a minimum, just check out Nevada Hand and tell your friends about it.
Is there a web page or a URL that we can put on the screen for people to find more? Would they go to Nevada Hand website?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And I will send you the exact website so you can put it on the screen. That would be great.
Awesome.
Okay.
Well, Terry, thank you. Again, I know you're busy. Thank you for taking time coming to talk to us. I'm going to tell Mary Beth to delay the emeritus thing as long as possible because you model for us. You did a great job as a chair and as a trustee. You model for others, the level of involvement that it takes to be effective. So thank you for all of that.
Well, thank you, Jaime. I really appreciate you having me here today.
We appreciate you, Terry.
All right.
Well, that's it for another episode of the WC Podcast. We hope to see you at a future one. Until then, stay safe. All right, Terry. Well, thank you for staying over to do our bonus segment called Against the Wall. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right. The first category is called Your Favorites. I'm going to give you a category. You're going to give me your favorite one within there. Let's start with an easy one. What's your favorite food?
Mexican food.
Your favorite beverage with dinner?
A glass of wine.
Your favorite car you've owned?
A Datsun 280Z.
Oh, that's a good one. Your favorite musical group or artist?
Foo Fighters.
Favorite movie?
Gladiator.
Favorite book?
Empire of the Summer Moon.
Favorite college sports team?
Wyoming Cowboys.
Favorite professional sports team?
Vegas Golden Knights.
Awesome. You made it through the first section. Now the second one gets a little tougher. It's called Tough Choices. I'm going to give you two choices. Hopefully you can narrow it down to one. The rodeo or a football game?
Football game.
The rodeo or dinner at table 34?
The rodeo.
Vacation or staycation?
Vacation.
When you go there, would you rather drive there or fly there?
Fly.
Once you get there, stay in a hotel or Airbnb?
Hotel.
When you retire, Terry, will it be in a ranch or in the big city?
A ranch.
When you have a day for yourself, would you rather have a day by the ocean or hiking in the mountains?
Hiking in the mountains.
If you were a superhero, would you rather have the ability to fly or breathe underwater?
Fly.
The ability to speak with animals or speak any foreign language?
Speak any foreign language.
Here's where it gets tough, Terry. Actions or words?
Oh boy, I'm ready.
Which one would you choose, justice or grace?
Grace.
Actions or words?
Actions.
Very good. You made it through the second section. The third one we round about, it's called Finish the Sentence. I'm going to give you about 90%. You're going to finish it for me. Are you ready? If Terry could visit any place in the world, it would be
Japan.
the best part about living in Southern Nevada is
All that there is to do here.
Terry's favorite thing about his job with Nevada State Bank is
The people.
if Terry could travel back in time, he would travel to
The age of the Roman Empire.
wow. 3 words that describe Terry are
Oh boy.
tough one.
This is a tough one. Humble. Patient. Happy.
I couldn't agree more. Terry, doing the WC podcast here today with us was
A fantastic experience.
awesome. Well, we appreciate having you here, Terry.
All right. Thanks, Jaime.